we're going to jump right into the Rejuvenation series and Scoop the Moon. So if you want to cut out, I hope we get to see you tomorrow for Social Sunday. Otherwise, here we go. So here's my plan. We are going to, typically when we go over a new movement, I like to go over the individual aspects first and then put it all together. Today we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to get the entire exercise as just kind of a rough draft, a figure drawing, kind of like looking at the map of the hike before delving then into the specifics and the details and the subtleties of it. So we're going to go over the whole exercise first, just as an overview, and then we're going to take out a few of the elements and really look at them, and then we're going to go back to the whole picture again. So this first viewing, if you will, of the exercise, don't feel like you have to get everything. I just think it's a little easier if you know where we're going. So with all of the Rejuvenation series, we have the same opening and closing. So we're starting with the feet together. We're inhaling as we come up onto our toes. If that works for you, exhaling down to the breastbone, inhaling. Pointing the fingertips down, exhaling. Inhaling into the lower dantian. And then exhale. We're going to open up to the left. Feet are hip width, shoulder width apart. A little wider is okay. And then I'm trying to mirror you. So it takes me a moment sometimes with left and right. The right hand is going to be facing the breastbone. The left hand back behind you as if you're holding a platter. And then we're swinging the torso forward. The arm is falling and coming with. We're putting all 5 fingertips together into a beak. We're taking that beak and we're pointing it back behind us, then to the side. Then we're scooping the moon, working on the other side, holding the platter, bringing the platter forward, allowing the 5 fingertips to come into a beak, turning that beak back behind us, off to the side, and scooping the moon. Platter behind us, bringing it forward, fingertips in a beak, turning that beak back behind us, off to the side, scooping the moon. One more time on this side, platter behind us, gathering in front, back behind, and scooping the moon. Okay, so let's take some individual elements. For the start, let's just work on one side at a time, or sorry, one arm at a time. The left hand, it is starting back behind you as if you're holding a platter. So if I'm facing away from you, this is the start. My hand is theoretically to the wrist and the forearm, about 90 degrees. And this bend at the elbow is somewhere around 90 degrees. It can be out a little bit. I wouldn't bring it in too much, but about 90 degrees or a little further away. So this is my start. The torso and the head are looking behind you at that platter. Okay, and that would be true for the other side as well. Okay, then if you're familiar, if not, don't worry about it, but if you're familiar, it's a little bit, not really, but a little bit like a middle outside block, right? Coming here, but it's the same idea of your elbow is kind of flowing along a tabletop, okay? So it's not going down and up and all around. It's flowing over a tabletop with this platter, okay? Right? So the torso is back behind us, and then we're coming forward. The torso is back behind us, and we're coming forward. Okay, next, the wrist. Simply take your left hand, allow the hand to go flat, the palm up to the sky, and then rotate Just play with the rotation. Actually, let's do both hands. Just play with the rotation. Any way you like, really. I'm kind of going in and out. For this, it's out and then in, out and then in. We're going to see this later in the series. So now rotate, splay the fingers nice and wide as comfortable for you, and then bring them into a beak. Rotate the wrists, palms are facing up, fingers are nice and wide, and then the palms come forward and meet in a beak. You want all the fingertips to be touching theoretically, because that helps unite all of those channels running through the arms and the hands. So we've got rotation of the wrist, splaying of the fingers into this beak. The beak, once again, is about, not quite, but about 90 degrees. And theoretically, our gaze is looking through the eye of the beak, okay? So we rotate into this beak. It's kind of sort of 90 degrees. Once again, not really. And we can see through the eye of the beak. So we started with a platter. We're bringing that platter forward, rotating the wrist into our beak. Then we're taking our beak and turning it to point directly behind you. Okay, once again, like so. Platter, forward, beak, taking the pointy part of the beak, turning it back behind you, then turning to the side, opening the palm, and transitioning. I'm not talking about the beak yet. So let's just do that, one side to the next. Once again, for the other hand, let's go ahead, bring it up so it's communicating with the breastbone. You don't want it touching the chest. You want to give it some space so it can communicate, but it's not touching. Platter behind you, bringing it forward, beak, turning it back, turning it to the side, releasing the beak, and grasping the moon, scooping the moon, okay? We're going to talk about the transition in a minute, but for now, simply work on the other side. So you're starting with the platter, bringing that platter forward, rotating the wrist into the beak, turning that beak, pointing it directly behind you, off to the side, and scooping the moon. Now with this scoop, you're allowing the palm to open, you're reaching up, not directly up, and not out to the side, about, 60 degrees or so, and you're allowing the opposing heel to come up off the ground, and you're scooping and switching. All right, let's talk about the transition. Okay, so shake the arms out. Let's go ahead and start with the right hand communicating with the heart, with the breastbone. The left hand up. All we're going to do is, I fibbed. We're going to let this one go. Let it go. Bring it back behind you. Simply scoop down and then up. Okay? Down, circling all the way down, and then allow the palm to come back to the breastbone. Down and up. Okay, let's try the other side. Down and up. Down and up. Okay, so now we're letting both of those go, and we're simply coming down while the other arm comes up, down while the other arm comes up. It's a little bit, remember this thing? It's a little bit like that. The key point is, as one arm descends, the other raises. Okay, now this is not exactly like it is in the exercise, but it helps you get a feel for that, that opposing force. As one comes down, the other comes up. Oh, someone's unhappy outside. I have moments like that. I have perhaps more moments like that than I should. TMI. All right, one coming down, one coming up. One coming down, one coming up. One coming down, one coming up. Okay, so let's put it together in the exercise. Shaking it out. The right hand is communicating with the breastbone. The left hand is swinging up. This is our start. This is our starting point. We're sweeping forward, gathering into a beak, allowing that beak to point back behind us, pointing that beak to the side, reaching up, opposing heel comes up off the floor, and then as one arm descends, the other ascends, and we go back. Now with the right side, coming forward, going back, going to the side, scooping the moon. The breathing for this exercise is natural breathing, which means that you're just breathing in and out through the nose, working at your own pace, and you will find most likely, not guaranteed, but most likely, you'll fall into a breathing pattern that makes sense to you. Now, the gaze is always with the active hand. And then you're allowing that gaze to transition as you move from side to side. My knees are rather soft. That gives me a little extra give in my movements. And remember, the bottoms of the feet, the heels are always on the ground except for that one moment when we scoop the moon. Otherwise, you're nice and grounded. And you can slow it down if you like. Really allowing the fingers to articulate. And as a side note, the hand that's communicating with the breastbone, try not to let it turn into a claw. Sometimes, because we're thinking so much about that active hand, the hand at the breastbone starts to tense up and turn into a bit of a claw. Try to keep it nice and soft. It's communicating with the heart. Gazing at the palm, gathering into a beak. Really, our vectors are without the hands behind us, in front, behind us, to the side, and then we transition behind us, in front, behind us, to the side, and then we transition. Trying to keep the shoulders relaxed, trying to keep the jaw relaxed. The only possible tension is in those fingertips all joining together. And start to finish up. And so our right arm goes up, our left arm comes up, our heels are on the ground now. We sweep down, guiding that left foot to the right. Inhaling, if you want to do the modified version, to the breastbone, and exhaling fully. If you want to do the classical version, you just go straight on up on our inhale. Exhaling as we come down, inhaling, Exhaling to the lower dantian, inhaling and exhaling. So that was the modified version. If your blood pressure is not too low and if you've eaten, you can go all the way up on your inhale. Exhaling, in, out, inhaling, and exhaling.